Find the ratio of the functions q of x equals negative 2x cubed plus x squared plus 190x minus 693 and p of x equals 2x minus 9 by completing the table of values for r of x equals q of x divided by p of x. Determine the type of function that best represents the quotient using the table values for r of x and write a function rule for the ratio. Okay, so just looking at our two functions, we see that q of x is a cubic function here because of our x cubed term, and then p of x is a linear since the highest x value it has is x to the first, or the highest power that it has. And so thinking of q of x divided by p of x, we should expect, x cubed divided by x, we should expect that r of x will be a quadratic. And let's go ahead and fill in our table and write our function rule for the ratio. Okay, so to fill out the rest of our table, then we need to take q of x and divide it by p of x. And so just taking those values and putting them in our calculator, the first one would be negative 693 divided by negative 9. And so we get 77. Doing the next one, negative 504 divided by negative 7. We get 72. And the next one divided by negative 5. 65, and so on. Doing the same thing, then we can fill out the different numbers in our table. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so now that we have our values, then let's go ahead and find the finite differences. Note here that our delta x is constant of 1 because, starting at the end here, 8 minus 7 is 1, 7 minus 6 is 1, and so on. Every single one ends up being 1. All right, so now we can find the finite differences on the other side. So negative 19 minus 0 is negative 19. 0 minus 17 is negative 17. 17 minus 32 is negative 15. 32 minus 45 is negative 13. And so on. Let's go ahead and fill in the rest, subtracting in the same order. And so we see that our first differences are not the same, so it's not linear. Let's go ahead and see what the second differences are. So negative 19 minus negative 17, that's plus 17, so that's going to give us negative 2. Negative 17 minus negative 15 is negative 2. And so on, we see that each of these actually will subtract to negative 2. And so as we predicted, this will be a quadratic since our second differences are all the same. And so let's go ahead and use our forms that we know for a quadratic. So first we know that 2a will equal the second difference, which in this case is negative 2. And so solving for a, dividing by 2 on each side, then we see that a equals negative 2 divided by 2, which is negative 1. And then to find b, we know a plus b will equal the first difference between 0 and 1. And so that here is going to be negative 5. And then we know a is negative 1 plus b equals negative 5. And so then solving for b, we can add 1 on each side, and we get b equals negative 5 plus 1, which is negative 4. And then c will just be our y-intercept. So when x equals 0, then here r of x will equal 77. And so we know that c will equal 77. And so then to put those into our form, then we'll know that r of x equals negative 1x squared, or just negative x squared, and then negative 4 for b, x, and then plus 77 for c. And so let's go ahead and summarize our answer. The ratio is best represented by the quadratic polynomial r of x equals negative x squared minus 4x plus 77.